When I first started in the industry that I currently work in, I was working for a larger company in the finance industry, and we had roughly about 1,000 employees. And my role was a performance consultant. And essentially, my entire job revolved around onboarding employees multiple times a month, sometimes up to 40 people at a time, in a Zoom for 8 hours a day for 40 days. And even though I was very excited and comfortable with being able to teach people how to do their job and teach them the functions of the technology that we use, it was still very nervous to think about being in front of a camera, in Zoom that long. Fortunately for me, we ended up having curriculum that we were able to study, and we had facilitator guides, which are essentially a way for us to know exactly what we needed to say when we needed to say it. But initially, when I was preparing for my first class, I definitely experienced the fight, flight, or freeze response. And for me, it manifested itself in very specific ways. I felt tense, sometimes restless. And more than anything, I had convinced myself that if I just focus in and push through and get through each segment, that I would be okay. It did not lessen the fear and it did not lessen the stress at all. I felt my jaw clenching and I would be sore from having this permanent smile on my face for 8 hours a day. There were a lot of tight muscles and my voice I could tell was strained. I would feel very sweaty sometimes, which is kind of funny to think about. And at the end of the day, I didn't want to talk to anyone. I just wanted to lay on my couch and breathe because it was such a mental workout, just performing essentially every day for 8 hours a day. Now, over time, I realized that I needed to do some preparation to be able to accurately take care of this response that I was having. And I instilled reframing the anxiety that I was having going into classes by being excited about it. I would look forward to the weeks that I was teaching a class or I was onboarding people. And I would switch the mindset that I had of I get to smile. I get to welcome people in. I get to teach them a culture. I also would rehearse a lot since we had facilitator guides and we had a curriculum plan. I was able to practice whether it was with other team members that I worked with or my boss, and I would essentially do an entire lesson over Zoom and get feedback, which was really, really helpful. It also helped that I was rehearsing this aloud over and over again. And I would find, even though I was sitting, I would find a way to ground myself um, and almost pose in a grounding pose with my shoulders back and my chin up so that I could speak appropriately. I found myself also trying to do some deep breathing on the time periods where I would feel more stressed going into it because I had bad days. And what I noticed that over time, as I did all of these preparations, and the more that I created what I like to call a ritual, I was able to not be so afraid of sitting in front of a camera or an audience and having these conversations and teaching them publicly how to do their job. And it was a very interesting experience. I wouldn't say that I would want to go back to doing that job. However, it was very apt for this particular class because I'm not as nervous or stressed out about speaking and recording these videos. Thank you.